Hey everybody, my name is Deja and welcome back to my channel. Today we have a special guest. This is my boyfriend. His name is G. We've been dating for
almost 2 years now.
Almost 2 years. But I thought for Valentine's Day it would be cute if I did a reading vlog where I read the books that he chose for me. So he's going to choose 2 books here at the apartment, and then we're going to go to the used bookstore and he could pick another one there. So behind us, baby, there's all these books. You just can't choose these 3, and the ones down there I've already read. And then I have books also on by the TV. So if you want to choose TV books, you can also choose TV books. And you can choose from the stack, but you can't see the titles, so.
Awesome. A good Viola Davis book. And her forehead big.
Babe, that is not nice. Do you remember which books you bought me?
Honestly, no. There was so many.
Yeah, they're all mixed in.
I think this would be nice too.
You're just choosing off the cart, not the shelf or the stack?
Just the cart.
Those are both by Black authors.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, Viola Davis you knew, but not the Jigsaw Man.
Not the Jigsaw Man.
That one's a thriller.
You know I love a thriller.
Okay. Why did you choose them?
Viola Davis, she's a visionary, a good woman, so I feel like this book will probably be good. And the Jigsaw Man, I mean, just got an interesting name to it, so, and it's a thriller like you said, so now makes it even better. So.
Okay, so I'm really happy with the books that he chose. These are both on my 25 books to read in 2025, and they're both by Black authors. This one is a serial killer thriller, and of course Viola Davis. Gotta read it. But we're gonna go to the used bookstore, and he's gonna choose a book there now, and of course y'all are coming.
Cash you like, you be acting classy.
At the used bookstore, he ended up picking this book, The Inmate by Frida McFadden. Tell the people why you chose this book.
I chose the book because I heard you talk about this author before. Your aunt got you a book by this author as well, so why not double down and get you another one? And it looks interesting.
So the 2 books he picked for me, the first one was Finding Me by Viola Davis. This is obviously Viola Davis's memoir. It's about her life. I've heard that this is really impactful, really empowering, and I'm excited to read it. If you don't know, she plays in How to Get Away with Murder, as well as a ton of other things. She's a very prolific actress, and I'm really excited to read her story. And she's Black, obviously, so I'm glad that he chose this one. And then this one's also by a Black author, and that is The Jigsaw Man by Nadine Matheson. These are both on my 25 books to read in 2025. I did not tell him like this shelf on my cart because one shelf is on my 25 books to read in 2025. I have like my winter TBR up here, so that's my winter TBR. Down here on the second shelf is my 25 books to read in 2025. He does pay attention, and I've explained the organization to him before, and he also watches some of my videos, so he knew that these are both on my 25 books to read in 2025, and that's like part of the reason that he chose them. But I did not tell him that when we were going into this. He just remembered it from a month or 2 ago. So this one I just know is a serial killer thriller written by a Black author, so that's why I really wanted to pick it up. It is a little bit long, but the author is a criminal defense attorney, and I think the main character is a detective inspector, a part of the serial crime unit. And it's the first book in a thriller series. I'm really, really excited about this one because I don't know of many serial killer thrillers written by Black authors. And I saw this one a couple years ago and been wanting to pick it up. And I finally bought it a couple months ago, last year in 2024, because this is like not a book that they carry in like the bookstore or anything. So I just had to like buy it on Amazon. So I'm really excited to read both of these. And then with a wild card pick for the used bookstore pick, he picked The Inmate by Frida McFadden. And I want to clarify, in the last clip when he said, oh, like I've heard you talk about this author before, it was because I told him when my aunt got me one of her books for Christmas, I was like, oh, like I'm kind of happy, kind of not happy that I got this book, because I do always want to know what the hype is about Frida McFadden. I've never read one of her books, but I want to know like the hype. I want to know if it's real. I just want to know like why the girlies are eating her up. But she has a lot of claims and allegations that she's a plagiarizer, Personally, I believe that she's a plagiarizer, allegedly. This is not the book that she plagiarized, but he did actually want to pick up The Housemaid is Watching. But I told him that was the second book, and then he was really sad that they didn't have the first book, but they did have The Inmate, so I convinced him to get this one, because I was like, I can either read The Inmate, or I can get the other book from her, like, online or something. But he ended up going with The Inmate, and so, as I said, Frida McFadden is an author that I've been interested in because she is so popular and prolific, and I want to know why and read it for myself. But at the same time, I never wanted to actually buy one of her books or support her because of who she is and what she's done. So now I feel like, oh, like this is giving me a chance to read her, even though I would have never have actually read her myself. So I'm interested to pick this one up. I've actually got like 44 pages into this book because after the used bookstore, we had some time to kill before we went to go see a movie, and he forgot something at his apartment. So we drove like 30 minutes to his apartment and 30 minutes back to the movie theater. So in that time, even though we were yapping and he was playing music hella loud, I read like 44 pages because I forgot to bring my Kindle, and I didn't want to read on my phone because I'm trying to keep my screen time low. Didn't bring my iPad, didn't bring nothing. So I was like, damn, the only thing I can do right now is read one of these books that are in this bag. So this is the one I decided to pick up because I knew I'd be reading this one for sure in February. But I thought I would show y'all the other books I got. So y'all can see they packed it in a Whole Foods bag, but I got quite a few books. We went half and half. So he bought half the books, I bought half the books. I picked up Dark Places by Gillian Flynn because I read Gone Girl and I liked it, and I think I would really, really like Sharp Objects, which I actually have somewhere over here, but I saw Dark Places, so I was like, I might as well. I think she only has these 3 books out, so I was like, I might as well get this one as well. It was literally only $6, so I was like, might as well, since I did like Gone Girl. And then I ended up picking the last 3 books, numbers 2, 3, and 4 in the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I did read the first book. I don't think I have the physical copy because I read it like on my Kindle or something, and every time I go to the bookstore, I'm like, oh, like I really want to continue on in this series, but I feel like I want to buy the first book before I buy any, like I don't want to just buy number 2 and then not have the first book. So they didn't have the first book there, but I was like, okay, like I get all 3 of them for a used bookstore price, which is better than buying them in like Barnes & Noble, and I could just get the first one if I see it used or from Barnes & Noble. Specifically, I think Twisted Games and Twisted Hate are people's like favorite in the series, so I'm really excited to continue on. I know a lot of people don't like the first book, but I did like it when I read it, so I do want to continue on. I read it quite a few years ago, but I'm excited for these ones. Then I got Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one of her books that I don't own. I own a couple. I've only read Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So I do want to read more of her work. I have some of like her romance. Like I know like Daisy Jones and the Six and Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Carrie Soto is Back and even Malibu Rising. I think they all have romances in it, but they are like more like literary fiction to me, at least the 2 that I've read, and they're all not in a series together like those 4, but I think they are a little bit interconnected. I do have Malibu Rising, so I think those are the 4 of hers that are like in that world that I need to read, and then I do have some of like her other romances that she wrote before The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I really want to read as well. I also picked up The Unmothers by Leslie J. Anderson. I know my friend Sid from Sid Bookworm really liked this book. Sorry, I didn't like how the angle was so high, but I was saying that she did a live show for this book and a lot of other people didn't like it, but she did, and I trust her opinion. It says, in this emotionally raw and propulsive folk horror mystery, a journalist goes to a small town and unravels a dark secret that the women have been keeping for generations. I love a horror mystery combination, so I think I will like that one. Now this one is one that I've been having my eye on at these books for a while, and that is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. I've been hearing about this book for a very long time. I think this has something to do with Jekyll and Hyde, and it also has to do something with Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. So I don't know, it was actually in the horror section, but I think this one might be fantasy. I'm not sure, but I've seen it going around and I just have been seeing it at the used bookstore every time I go. Think about, maybe I should buy that, and then I haven't been buying it, so I was like, today's the day. And then lastly, I got The Mothers by Britt Bennett. I have not still read The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I think I bought a copy last year, but The Mothers I heard is also really good. They also had a hardcover of Montrealio for $25, and they don't even make the hardcover anymore, so I almost bought it. I was like SpongeBob.
I don't need it.
So here's our TBR for the video. Not bad. 2 books I'm dying to read, and 1 book that I probably wouldn't pick up on my own, but I'm interested to see if the hype is real. So that's the TBR, and I'll probably be starting with The Inmate since I already got like 45 pages into that one on the drive. I would have started one of the other ones, but again, I didn't bring them with me. I just had the used bookstore books with me. So yeah, I'm gonna start that one in a week or so, and I will come back to y'all when I have an update. It's officially February now because my boyfriend and I filmed those clips earlier. It was January. So now that it's February, I have started this reading vlog, and I think I told you I was starting with The Inmate by Frida McFadden, and I am 50% of the way through this book. I'm on page 200 exactly, chapter 28, and this one is fine so far. It's a very, 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 very readable. I think I read 40 pages physically just in the car because I had nothing else to read. I think I told y'all that. And then this other bit, this 160 pages, I literally did that after finishing another book while doing my nails because I was doing some Valentine's Day nails. This one follows Brooke, who moves back to her hometown after the death of her parents with her son. Her son was born out of wedlock. That's a term that she uses. But her son was never raised with a father because the father of her child is actually in prison. Brooke is a nurse practitioner that begins to work at a prison, a maximum security prison. It happens to be the prison that her baby daddy is in. And when he was like locked up, or like the event that he was arrested for happened when he was 18, I believe, and she was 17. So she was kind of like kept out the media. But they were basically like high school sweethearts. He was the school's star quarterback, but now he's in prison for a series of grisly murders that happened when she was 17 and he was 18 while they were in high school. And Brooke's testimony is what put him in the prison. So she's now working in the same prison that he's in, which obviously is causing some conflict. But now she's back in this town and she has a son. And in this book, the main thing that is like really weird to me is like Brooke has this big idea in her head that like people care that her son was born out of wedlock, and maybe they do because this is a small town, but literally her son was like bullied by hella kids in his old school, which was part of the reason that she wanted to move as well, on top of her parents passing away and them leaving her their home. But she really wanted a fresh start because her child was like really, really bullied bad for not having a father. And maybe that is too realistic for today, but like when I was a kid, nobody ever cared about that. And he's like 10 years old. It's not like he's like in middle school or high school. He's like 10. And so I feel like most kids that age are not really like bullies in that way. Maybe like 1 or 2, but like the whole class bullying him because he doesn't have a father, like I feel like that's pretty normal for today's standard, that we have like different forms of families, like just moms, just dads, 2 moms, grandma, grandpa. Like we have a variety of different families, and I feel like it's such a big deal in this book, and I just don't think that's realistic to today. I'm trying to see when this book was published. Yeah, 2022. Maybe I'm just Delulu and it is actually how it's like. Maybe y'all can let me know if you have kids who are in school. You can let me know if this would be something that's realistic to have a kid like relentlessly bullied extremely bad for just being raised by a single mom at 10 years old, mind you, like in elementary school. It's just not something I ever saw as a kid throughout any of the schools that I went to. And I went to 3 elementary schools, a middle school, and 2 high schools, and that was never a thing that I ever saw. So it's just kind of baffling to me. That's such a big plot point in this book. But as I said, this book is very, very readable. I'm not really attached to any of the characters. Nothing twisty has happened so far, and I feel like, especially for this thriller being like almost 400 pages, generally when a thriller is that long, around the 50% mark, I tend to like start to be like, okay, where's the twist? Where's some interest? Where's some intrigue? And in this book, I'm not necessarily feeling that. I feel like I'm just along for the ride because it is reading so fast. Even though it's like 400 pages, I think the audiobook of this is only 8 hours. So that's pretty short for 400 pages. Like a 300 page book is around 9 to 10 hours. So a 400 page book would probably be like 11 or 12 hours. So the fact that it's only 8 hours shows that it's really, really fast, and like the font is super big. But one thing I am liking about this book that I will say is that we do get flashbacks to the past where we are seeing Brooke as a teenager leading up to the events that happened. So we're kind of having like this dual timeline element. So I am liking that part of the story. And there's also like a best friend character in this book that she was best friends with when she was a child and up into her teenagehood, and he did not like her boyfriend, who is now the man that is locked up, her baby daddy, but they did not get along when she was a teenager, so we're seeing their tension. And also, obviously, she's back in a small town, so she's reuniting with people from her past. I feel like not much has happened. It's been a lot of setup in the present day, but we're also leading up to the events of these murders in the past timeline. So it's very fast, very readable. I'm not complaining that nothing has happened so far, even though we're at 50%, which usually I am, but it's not anything crazy. It's not anything standout. It's just fine. I do have a prediction of like what a possible twist is, but also I feel like that's way too obvious. So I think that it's not that, but if it is that, I'm gonna be mad because I'm like, that's way too obvious. So it better not be that, because that will really piss me off. I think I could finish this one up tonight. I literally think I only have like an hour left of this on audio at the speed I'm listening to, so I'll probably finish this up. It's like midnight, but I need to do some work for my job that I wanted to do today. My nails took me longer than I thought they were going to, because I wasn't gonna really do a design. I was just gonna do like kind of, I think, some red French for Valentine's Day, and then I did a design. I had to try and edit a video. I'm on duty tonight, so I had rounds. So there's just been a lot happening today, but I need to get to that work, and I can listen to my audiobook while I do that. So I'll probably finish this up tonight and come back to y'all tomorrow with an update. I'm excited to see the end half of this book, because everybody says that Frida is the queen of twists, and that's why people love her, because one, her books are extremely readable popcorn thrillers, and two, because she has crazy twists at the end. So I want a crazy twist, because I just read another thriller that people said had a crazy twist and was super unhinged, and then it wasn't that. So now I'm looking for that. Like, that's what I want, because that's what I went into with the last thriller I read, and then it didn't deliver. So I hope this book actually delivers.
You made me wanna leave, made me wanna die. It was all a dream, got lost in your eye. I could never leave when you were by my side. You always made me feel like I wasn't enough. Oh baby, you feel like torture. After all this time, you're just a liar. You're burning in me just like fire. I'm just driven by my own desire. You know how to get me on my knees. All you want is for me to beg you, please. You know how to get me on my knees. All I want is for you to love me. Tell me, baby, do you like the way you torture me?
It was 2 days ago now when I actually finished The Inmate by Frida McFadden, but this one I'm giving 3.5 stars. I thought it was just an okay thriller. Like, it really wasn't bad. The twist did definitely get me, but it's also something that I've seen before in other media, specifically like a movie franchise. I'm not going to say which one, but this had a very similar twist to a movie franchise that's super popular. And then there was an end twist in the epilogue, and that one I really, really loved. I love that one a lot, but I don't think this is a very memorable thriller. It was definitely fine. The writing was really simple. It was fast to read. It was engaging, but it's not anything to write home about, and I probably wouldn't go out of my way to recommend this one to anybody, because it's just fine. It had decent twists at the end, and it was fast to read. So if you're looking for something that is like a palate cleanser that you can read during like a 24-hour readathon, or to distract you if you're like on a plane flight or something like that, I think this would be a pretty okay one to read. But again, it's not like an all-time favorite thriller or something that I would really, really love to recommend, especially knowing who this author is and what she's done. So this one is a 3.5 for me, but again, it wasn't like super complex in characters or writing or anything like that, and I feel like that is something that I definitely like in a thriller, and it didn't really have like commentary or anything like that either. So I am giving it 3.5. That was honestly the book that I was the most scared of, and the one that I thought that I would rate the lowest or like the least, so that's kind of why I read it first. Plus I knew it would be fast to read. I think next I'm going to read Finding Me by Viola Davis, because this one's also pretty quick, and I don't rate nonfiction, especially like memoirs, because it's about somebody's life, and most of the nonfiction I read is memoirs. There's definitely some that have ratings from me on Goodreads and Storygraph when I used to rate them, but I don't rate them anymore. But I think I'm gonna do this one next. I'm actually on sprints with my Patreon right now. We just had our book club live show for January, and my friend Mayana joined us. It was super fun. I've never had anybody be a guest for my Patreon book club, so that was really, really fun to have her on there. And I decided to do some sprints after we did the discussion, so I'm on sprints, and I will be getting into this one. I actually am a little bit into it already, but I don't really have many thoughts to say on this one since it is pretty short, so I will give y'all an actual update when I'm a little bit further in and have more thoughts. I'm hoping to get a decent way into this one tonight because I need to do the dishes, so I have to listen to this. And then also I am trying to crochet my dad a present, and his birthday celebration is in 2 days. His actual birthday is in 3 days, but I was originally making this for him for Christmas, and then I didn't have enough time, so I pushed it off, and I should have started this a couple weeks ago, but I was still crocheted out from Christmas, so I didn't. So I need to try it. The pattern seems kind of complicated. Like, I don't know what terminology they're using. They might be British or something. That's what my Anna said, because some of the stitches, I'm like, I've never heard of that. And just like the way that it's worded, I'm like, that seems weird. So they have a video tutorial, so I'm gonna watch that as well. And then hopefully once I understand it, I can just keep going and get it done. I'm making him a hat organizer to organize his baseball hats and stuff like that, so I'm gonna work on that a little bit. I do have something I want to read on my Kindle, but because I want to crochet, I will definitely be listening to the audiobook, and I like the audiobook so far of this because Viola Davis does narrate it herself, just like with most memoirs, but I love when they do that. And I love Viola Davis's voice. Is that weird to say? Like, I love her voice, so I definitely would recommend the audiobook of honestly most memoirs or even nonfiction in general. I feel like comes across pretty well in audiobooks. I really need to go do the dishes, so I'm going to start listening to this one. Guys, this week drained me, okay? I haven't even been reading that much, and you guys can probably hear my voice. Like, I can hear how exhausted I sound because this week I've been sleeping like actual shit. Like, I'm a sleeper. One thing about me, I'm a slumber, but this week I literally have not been able to fall asleep until I think the earliest I fell asleep was last night around 3 a.m. And then one night I went to sleep at 6 a.m. That's not even the night. I would sleep in the morning at 6 a.m. Most nights I've been falling asleep between 4 and 5. Like, the insomnia has come to get me. And then I started my period today, and it's been so bad. Not to get TMI, but my last 2 periods were super like not painful, like really light, which is like weird for me. And so this one is coming in with a vengeance and literally snatching my wig. It is traumatizing me. So I'm like, what? And then this week I've been so busy. Like, I love my night times. I love like to do my hobbies, whatever, and I haven't even been able to do them like how I want because I've been having something every single night this week. Like, Monday I had my RA meeting, which was like an hour and a half. Then on Tuesday I had my live show for my book club, and we did reading sprints after. And I love to do my live shows, don't get me wrong, but it's still like I have to be on. Like, I'm entertaining people on the live show. I can't just, you know, like blob on the couch. And yesterday I was on duty, so that means I have to do rounds and stuff like that. So I'm like up, I had lockouts, and literally all the lockouts I got came from one building of the 4 I was on duty for. And I'm like, y'all need to get your act together. And we also had to do health and safety inspections, which means for my building I had to go into every single room in the entire building. Like, it literally took 2 hours. I was walking so much from rounds and that. Tonight I was supposed to go to my sister's house to celebrate my dad's birthday, which is tomorrow, but it got canceled because my mom was sick. But I was supposed to be at an RA event, but then I told them, I was like, we're actually celebrating my dad's birthday tonight, so I can't come. But then since I got canceled, I had to go to the RA thing. So I'm like, oh my god. And honestly, when I'm tired, like, I can't read. And I'm not like a tired reader. Like, it's very hard for me to read when I'm tired because I want to give my full dedication to a book. And when I'm tired, like, I can't function. Like, I'm not a functional tired person. Like, I know some people, like my boyfriend, he can get 4 or 5 hours of sleep and he's functioning. I'm getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I'm nauseous, I'm throwing up, I have a headache, my body hurts. Like, I don't feel good. I feel sick, literally ill, especially if it's multiple nights in a row. So like, I'm not feeling good. So I haven't been reading, and as I was saying, the little time that I do have, I've been spending it playing The Sims 2 because EA re-released The Sims 1 and Sims 2, which have not been sold for a while. And The Sims 2 is my childhood game. Like, that's the game that I played when I was a kid. The Sims 2 was like my childhood game. And then I played The Sims 3 like more like late elementary school, middle school, and then I think in middle school The Sims 4 came out because it's been out for 11 years. But I did play all the games, and The Sims 2 is just very nostalgic for me. So I've been playing that, and I haven't honestly been playing The Sims 4 for months because when new packs come out, they have major updates. And when that happens, it breaks a lot of the mods in your game. And I updated all the mods because there was obvious bugs because we've literally had 2 expansion packs since I put all those mods in my game. And I've been playing a Let's Play on my Patreon, I try to do like gaming live streams over there. They're not like super professional or anything, but I just love to game. So I've been doing a Let's Play over there, and we have so much CC, so much happening with like mods related to like relationships and all this different stuff. So I was like, I can't just play it with no mods and CC, like it's not going to work. So I was trying to figure it out, and it took me like 5 hours to get rid of 2 glitches in my game. And then I go in, game looks normal, and then I can't interact with any other Sims because it's another glitch. And so I just haven't had the mental capacity to go back in there and search through everything again to find out what's making my game glitch. Even though I tried to update all of the mods, it's been a hassle. So I haven't really been playing. But now The Sims 2 is out, and so I have been playing that. Like, this is my 3rd night in a row, so I haven't been reading, to say the least, but I am finally halfway through into Finding Me by Viola Davis. And I, of course, am really loving this. Like, so this first half of the book has really been her talking about her childhood. She has 2 sisters, and she does have a mom and a dad, but she comes from poverty. She was very much like in the trenches, like for real. Her dad and mother had a very toxic, abusive relationship. She was bullied, not just bullied in general, she was bullied for being black. Her and her sisters, even from a young age, went through a lot of sexual trauma related to men, and that's explored in this book. And then her struggling with poverty, and also seeing her parents' abusive relationship. So there's a lot of heavy topics being discussed in this book, so be wary going into this one, but I feel like she's telling it so beautifully. We've gotten little glimpses in her childhood of her liking acting, and we see different ways that she loves to perform and how she connects with acting. And then towards the end of the second half, closer to the middle, we see her actually starting to like pursue acting as an adult. And so we've just got a little bit of that. I feel like honestly this was a great place to update y'all, because I feel like now it's about to transition. Like we explored her childhood, we are seeing her get into acting a little bit, and then now we're going to really explore, I feel like, the rest of her acting career and her adulthood. So I'm really excited for the second half to see what other struggles she's going to talk about. I find her book so empowering. I didn't even notice that there's pictures. I really find her story so empowering, because it really goes to show that you can do something if you really want to do it. But on the other hand, I do feel like in America we have this concept of the American dream, and you know, like, as long as you pull up your bootstraps and, you know, work really hard, you can do whatever you want. And like in America, that's actually not true. We just kind of created this concept, but with how capitalism is today, most people will not advance in social and economic status from their parents. Most people will be the exact same place. Of course, there are going to be people who overcome, and Viola Davis is one of those people who is able to overcome her circumstances, but a lot of people cannot do that because of how our society is set up. Like, especially now, I don't really like to talk about politics on my channel, not because I'm scared to talk about politics, that I'm scared of backlash of my channel. It's nothing to do with that. Like, I'm firm in my beliefs, but I know how triggering it could be for other people. But I feel like not being able to talk about politics or avoid politics is very privileged, because like for me, like, that's not really an option. And I feel like even now, like for most women, with how things are going right now, it's not an option to not be interested in politics, because unfortunately our human rights are being made political, when human rights shouldn't be political. They should just be cold hard facts, but they are being made political. What I was going to say related to this book is, like, even now DEI is being basically rolled back, canceled. Like, we all saw Target, we all saw all of that, and DEI is being rolled back in so many different places in the whole country right now because of our, you know, newly inaugurated president. And that hurts so many women with their chances of getting hired. That hurts people of color. And like now, because of that, even if a person of color works really hard, 20 times as hard, they still might not be able to overcome their circumstances because people don't want to hire them because of this, that, and the third. Of course, there are going to be people who are given chances, but not everybody's going to get the chance, even if they work hard. And that's what's so sad in our country. Like, for example, my mom was in a very similar situation to Viola Davis when she was a kid in the beginning of this book. Like, they had very similar childhoods from what I know. And my mom, even though she's not like a famous actress like Viola Davis, she has really worked her way to overcoming her circumstances. But my mom is not the rule, she is the exception. So yeah, of course I'm really enjoying this book, but it does make me sad and kind of disheartened, because I do know a lot about sociology in our society and capitalism and racism, sexism, all of our different isms and institutional oppression. Like, I just know a lot about that because of my major, criminology. I am a psychology major too, but it was criminology. Even though you would think like it's criminology, it focuses on crime, the majority of criminology is sociology, of us learning about institutionalized oppression, about us learning about other people, learning about all of that. I do have classes that specifically focus on crime, but a lot of my classes are sociology. And so I've been able to learn a lot about that. And even in my criminology class, it's incorporated so much into our curriculum. Criminal justice more focuses on like criminal justice policy versus criminology is more sociological in nature. But because I have this background, I have such a cynical view of our world and our society because I know the reality. A lot of people get to live in ignorance and not think about it, especially if you do come from a place of privilege, which I do. I'm very, very privileged in a lot of ways, but because I know so much and I know how hard it is for other people, and especially people in my own communities, like the LGBTQ plus community, the Black community, just being a person of color in general, and being a woman, like because I know how hard it is for my communities and how hard it could be for me in the future. Like I don't know how the country is gonna go. Because I know all of that, it still makes me sad. Like I'm reading this book and I'm supposed to feel inspired and empowered, which I do, but then I'm like, dang, like so many people are gonna read this book, feel inspired, feel empowered, and think that they could just do anything. And if they were given the chance, they probably could do anything, but they probably won't be given that chance. And that makes me so, so sad. Anyways, that's a long tangent, that's a long rant, but it's not too late, so I might stay up and read this a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna go get in bed and put on my Bob's Burgers and get to reading this book. Well, I'm gonna listen to the audiobook. Even though I'm gonna have Bob's Burgers on, I'm still gonna have to listen to the audiobook because it's narrated in her voice. Like I have to do the audiobook. It's so good.
Tell me if it's cash you like. You be acting classy like you don't really want it. You know that I blast you right. You can get it right on sight. If you really wanna talk that shit, I'm rooting for your Malibu rum. 5 steps from the BJ, pouring up some shots, got me spinning like a DJ. If you keep me coming, I'll stay till the weekday. Now you wanna call now, trying to come on over to my home now. What you want, I don't know what I want now. Guess we doing more than having fun now. I've been feeling ways, I've been thinking you would feel the same. I've been looking for a better space, nah, nah. I don't even got a heart to break, nah, nah. I've been feeling ways, roll it up, smoke it like we ain't got time to waste. Promise I'm tryna put a smile up on your face. Remember how it felt when it was just a little taste? 'Cause I've been feeling ways. So what you mean right now? You've been making scenes right now. What you tryna tell me? Acting like a tease right now. You can get the D right now. Got a feeling that you want much more that I'm giving to you. Pull up to a spot, let's talk over sky views. Got some drinks at home, maybe after you can swing through. Since you're such a freak, I got something I could teach you. Now you wanna call now, trying to come on over to my home now. What you want, I don't know what I want now. Guess we doing more than having fun now. I've been feeling ways, I've been thinking you would feel the same. I've been looking for a better space, nah, nah. I don't even got a heart to break, nah, nah. I've been feeling ways, roll it up, smoke it like we ain't got time to waste. Promise I'm tryna put a smile up on your face. Remember how it felt when it was just a little taste? 'Cause I've been feeling ways.
Last time my plan of reading did not come to fruition because as soon as I laid down, I passed out. So I've been listening to the audiobook today. I went to Barnes & Noble. Y'all saw the B-roll of everywhere that I went. This is definitely crooked. I'm so sorry. There we go. Y'all saw I went to Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Joann's. I have a haul. I went to Barnes & Noble originally because I wanted to edit a video that I've been meaning to edit all week. And when I got there, I realized I forgot my memory card. So instead of doing that, I did homework for next Thursday when it's Friday. So I have almost a week, but I was like, then I don't have to worry about it. So I did that, went to Joann's because I placed a pickup order for some yarn, and then I also went to Walmart. Well, I went to Walmart in between Joann's, but I went to Walmart because the reason I got the yarn is because I'm crocheting something for my boyfriend for Valentine's Day, and so I wanted to get him some other Valentine's Day stuff, and I got him a big Valentine's Day gift. We kind of go out on the presents. We buy presents for each other all the time, not just for holidays, but for holidays it's like extra. I love giving presents. I love receiving presents. Gift giving is not my number one love language, but I do love it. So I'm gonna give you a haul of everything, and then also my aardvark, and my book of the month came today. So we have a lot to go through. I've been doing a really, really good job of not buying stuff. I'm trying to save money this year, and like I have been buying bigger things that I want, but I have a problem buying a whole bunch of like little things that I just don't need. But there were some things I saw today and I was like, I've been doing such a good job. I kind of want this stuff. The first thing y'all saw in the B-roll, and that was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This was the Barnes & Noble Cafe $5 book. So like if you get a purchase at the cafe, you can get this book for $5. I know a lot of the girlies like Destiny Sidwell, really like Lynn Painter. I don't know if this one's YA or not. I know she writes YA and adult. It says ages 12 and up, so I think this might be YA, but also it has sprayed edges, and it's really, really pretty. My boyfriend said he's going to ban me from Bob's Burgers because the next thing I got is Bob's Burgers related, because it's my favorite show. I watch it almost every single day. I actually haven't watched it in 2 days. Like, I eat, sleep, breathe Bob's Burgers, especially like the past few months. It's like a comfort show, and especially since my boyfriend is not here the majority of the time anymore, I feel like I need to have something on in the background because it'd be so quiet and I'm like, someone's literally gonna break in and kill me. So I just put Bob's Burgers on for comfort a lot of the time. I do watch it like on and off, but it's like a show that I've seen so much that like I can edit a video and put Bob's Burgers on in the background and focus on my editing, but still know exactly what's happening in the episode. I just know the show that well. But I got this little burger and you press it and it cycles through iconic lines from the show. So let's see what she has for us right now.
I'm excited.
Okay, Tina's saying I'm excited. Let's see what else.
It's no fun being a burger man in a seafood town.
It just cycles through them.
Oh, like I'm not gonna sing.
And then the last thing I got from Barnes is a puzzle, because I really want to get into puzzles this year. I have the goal to finish 3 puzzles because I have a puzzle collection. I have like 9 puzzles, I believe, but a lot of the puzzles I have are very large and very like repetitive, so it's hard to do them. And I feel like because I'm not good at puzzles, like puzzles is one thing I'm really not good at, and I'm very impatient, so I get very irritated and frustrated. I feel like that's good. Like I need to go through that, which is why I want to do puzzles. So I was looking for a 500 piece puzzle. I do have some 500 piece puzzles, but they're like Christmassy or something like that. So I was looking for something that's not seasonal that was 500 pieces, and I found this one. It's from the brand Gallison, which I've heard of before, and it has like foil on it. I don't know if y'all can see like the disco ball and the radiating out, and it has a cat, and it has a record player, which is like the next thing I want to get into. I want to get a record player and I want to get records. I've started a list of records that I want to collect, so I want to get into records. That's like one of my next big expensive purchases, is like a good record player. So I got this puzzle, and then from Walmart, the stuff I got for myself was I found an Elphaba Squishmallow. I didn't even know they had these. So I was like, I need it. I have a pretty substantial, it's not like super big, but a definitely decent amount, more than most people have, Squishmallow collection, and just like stuffed animals in general. And so I don't really like to buy many anymore unless it like really stands out to me. Unless it's something I'm like, I really, really need that. And I saw Elphaba and I was like, I need her. So I had to have her. Now we're moving on to the stuff from my boyfriend. So I got this bucket to like put all his presents in. I wanted to do a bucket last year, but they didn't have any big ones. So I did a bag, but I'm doing this bucket. And this is more for like his small stuff. So first up, even though I'm allergic to all nuts. I don't know if the internet knows this about me, but I'm allergic to all nuts. But he likes peanut butter a lot. His favorite is actually white chocolate Reese's, but I cannot find them. And I like these, and they're in a heart. So I got him these plain Reese's, and I'm gonna put them like all in the bucket, like together, obviously displayed. He loves a sweet. My boyfriend like is obsessed with a sweet. So I got him these cookies too. I also got him this little dino balloon to like, you know, stick out of it, you know, like that. So I got him a Squishmallow before, and he loves my Squishmallows. So I wanted to get him another one because the one that I gave him is like a little shark. It's so cute. It was actually mine and I gave it to him. He left it at his parents' house to guard his room in his parents' house. I don't know. And so I was like, let me get him one for his apartment. So I found this little dino. I've been looking out like Walgreens, CVS, whenever I go. I've been like looking for a Squishmallow I thought he would like, and I saw this one. I was like, I think he will really like this one. His name is Brayden. So, and I thought, you know, the balloon too, it was a very cutesy, the dinosaur theme. And the last things I got from Walmart is he loves sour gummy worms, so I got him those. And then I got him this card. Originally I had a card that I wanted to get him that was like $8 and it was so cute. But then I saw this one and I thought it was cute too, and it was only $1. It just says, "You light up my life," and it says, "You are my perfect match." And I thought it was like really cute for $1. So yeah, that's what I got. The bucket is obviously not like put together, and I still want to get him the Reese's. There's some snacks that he also likes at my convenience store in my apartment complex, and I can use dining dollars on those. So I was like, I'll get those from there. He has like these Miss Vicky's spicy dill pickle chips that he really likes, and those are really hard to find, but they have them in our vending machines over here. He also really likes like white chocolate covered pretzels, which they have at my C store. I might get him like a drink or something to put in here too. So that's kind of like the bucket for this, and I'll show y'all his big present too. I'm gonna go get it. Okay, it is a pair of Jordans that he wanted. I forget what these ones are called, so don't ask me, but they look like this. And of course his foot is humongous, size 12, so they were expensive. I think with shipping and everything, when everything was said and done, these cost me $260 because I had to buy them from StockX. Like, they're sold out on Nike, so it was like, I guess resellers, but it's like unopened, unworn. I checked them out and everything to make sure, you know, they look good. But that is like his big present. And then moving on to Joann's, I got the yarn for the project I'm gonna make him. His favorite animal is a tiger, so I'm going to crochet him a little tiger. I know this looks very fluorescent, and it is fluorescent in real life, but there really wasn't much like orange bulky yarn selections, so I think honestly it would be okay. Like, it looks really fluorescent because of the light, but it's not like actually fluorescent, it's just pretty bright. So I got that. I already have white fluffy yarn, so I got orange and black. They're both Big Twist plush yarns. The orange one is called Electric Tangerine, and the black I'm pretty sure is just called Black. Yeah, so I got those to crochet him a tiger stuffy, and I already got the pattern and everything, so I just need to crochet, and it's actually no-sew, so it'll be really quick to crochet. This is such a big haul, but I have my aardvark and my book of the month as well, so we're gonna open these. Let me find my scissors. Here they go. So first we'll start off with aardvark because it's a smaller box. I don't remember what I got for either of these, so we will see. I think I got 3 books from Book of the Month, and I don't remember how many I got from aardvark. Probably just 1 based off the size of the box. No, I think I got 2 actually. So I got Hungerstone because the cover just looked really interesting. And it says it's a compulsive feminist reworking of Carmilla, the queer novella that inspired Dracula. So I do have Carmilla. I'm very interested in reading it. I was going to read it in the fall, but I just didn't get around to it. So whenever I get around to reading that, because I know for a fact I'm going to love it, then I will pick this one up since it's a retelling. And then I got Death of an Author by Nnedi Okorafor. And this one is actually like a literary fiction from her. I believe it's following a disabled Nigerian-American author who writes sci-fi novels. And most of her work is sci-fi. I've read one of her books before, Binti, and it went completely over my head. I definitely need to reread it. But I was interested in this one since it is about an author, because I really like books about authors, honestly. So let's look at the bookmark for this month. I can't get it. So of course I got 2 because I got 2 books, but this is the bookmark for this month. I like it. It's very like interesting with all the patterns and the colors. I really like that. And then my book of the month, first book, Good Dirt. And this is the same author who wrote Black Cake, which I haven't read, but I believe it's like a literary fiction, and I want to read work by Black authors. So I picked this one up, and I think I have the audiobook of this as well through Libro FM, I want to say. So I picked it up, and I want to do a reading vlog where I read anticipated releases after I film this vlog, like later this month. So I might read that book in that vlog. And then I got The Bones Beneath My Skin because I have not heard of a TJ Klune book coming out. And if y'all don't know, I love TJ Klune. I have loved every single one of his books that have come out, and I don't even know what this one is at all. That was like a new TJ Klune book that I didn't know about. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and pick it up. So let's read it actually together. It says, in the spring of 1995, Nate Cartwright has lost everything. His parents are dead, his only brother wants nothing to do with him, and he's been fired from his job as a journalist in Washington, D.C. With nothing left to lose, he returns to his family's summer cabin outside of the small mountain town of Roseland, Oregon, to try to find some sense of direction. The cabin should be empty, it's not. Inside is a man named Alex, and with him is an extraordinary 10-year-old girl who calls herself Artemis Darth Vader. But Artemis isn't exactly as she appears. Soon it becomes clear that Nate must make a choice, let himself drown in the memories of his past, or fight for a future he never thought possible, because the girl is special and forces are descending upon them who want nothing more than to control her. So this one, I don't know if it's gonna have a lot of romance in it like his other books. I feel like his other books, except for Wolf Song, are not romance, but they have a heavy emphasis on romance. Wolf Song is definitely romance, but I'm so interested because I love TJ Klune. Like, I eat up every single one of his books. And then the last book that I got is Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. I have her first book. I forget what it's called. It's about, like, our main character who, like, sees her son commit a murder or something like that. And it's, like, weird, kind of, like, speculative sci-fi thriller. And I saw this was her new release. And I believe it might have to do with an author. Oh, it's called Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I really, really want to read that one. I started it, and then I had to put it down for like a vlog or something like that. But I really want to get back to that one. And this one is about a new mother whose world is upended when her husband commits a terrifying crime. How well does she truly know the man she loves? And what danger does she face if her entire life has been built on a lie? Period. So these are the books that I got. I really haven't been buying many books besides the ones I get for my aardvark and my book of the month, except if I see something like on a good deal, like if I go to the used bookstore, which I feel like I go to the used bookstore maybe like once every month or two, so I normally get a couple books from that. And then like I got a $5 book from Barnes & Noble, but I'm trying to like limit book buying as well, not like go on a book buying ban, but just like, you know, actually think through what I want to purchase. And a lot of what I want to purchase is new releases, so that's why I really like having my aardvark and my book of the month. But that's my haul. I've literally been filming this clip for 20 minutes, so we have to end her. I'm gonna finish on my book. I literally only have like 20 minutes left of the audiobook, and then I'll come back and update y'all. I'm at my boyfriend's apartment. He is on day shift, so I'm here alone. Also, sorry if you guys hear my computer. She is currently exporting a video that has like a lot of assets, and because of my graphic design job, I feel like I have a lot of heavy programs open all at the same time, all the time. So, you know, she's struggling a little bit, but I did want to update y'all because I did finish Finding Me by Viola Davis, and this one was such a great read. I don't rate nonfiction, especially memoirs. It's something I started doing a couple years ago because I feel like it's not good to rate people's lives. That's mostly the nonfiction that I read is memoirs, and so I feel like I don't really want to rate people's lives, and especially how they felt like it would be best to tell their story. I don't think that's right. I'm not judging anybody else for doing it at all. Like, I completely understand rating nonfiction, but for me, I just don't personally want to do that. Maybe if I read a lot more nonfiction, I would, but because the majority of my reading is fiction and I only read a couple nonfiction a year, I don't really want to rate them. But if I did rate them, this one would definitely be a 5 out of 5 stars because Viola Davis told an incredible story throughout this. I think it is so hopeful and inspiring, but it's also heartbreaking, and it doesn't shy away from the hard elements of life. That's really what this book is about. In the latter half of this, we definitely see her a lot more with acting and like in the industry and the struggles that come along with being in the industry. But I do think that the second half was a lot more hopeful than the first half of this story. I did want to read a quote from the book. It says, "My biggest discovery was that you can literally recreate your life. You can redefine it. You don't have to live in the past. I found that not only did I have fight in me, I had love." And I think that this book is going to provide so much hope and joy for so many people that Viola was trying to get across in this book, and I think it definitely came across. I know in the last clip I was a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but I do think that this book is incredibly inspiring. It just makes me sad that even if people want to redefine their lives and not live in their circumstances that they currently are in, a lot of people won't be able to do that because of, you know, how our society is built, and that's just the reality of it. I do think that you can redefine how you see your life and not living in the past and trying to move on from things. A lot of people won't be able to change their financial status or where they live or, you know, their education level. A lot of people will not be able to do those things, and that's just the reality of our society. But there are a lot of things that we can do for ourselves that do change how we view life and how we interact with people around us. I think that is very, very important, and I think this is an incredible memoir that every single person should read. Honestly, like, I think everybody could have gained something from this story, whether you relate to Viola Davis or you don't. Even if you don't relate to what she went through, like I don't. I'm very, very privileged compared to where Viola Davis came from, but I still was able to take what she said and apply it to my own life, and then also understand what it's like for people who do live in poverty. But I do relate to her also on racial elements, and if you're white, then I think you could gain something from hearing about her talk about race and these issues that do plague the Black community. I think it's such a great read. Do pick it up. Next up, I'm going to be reading The Jigsaw Man, which I'm really excited about this one, and this is a serial killer thriller written by a Black author, and I don't know of a ton, or at least I should say on the popular book internet, Black serial killer thrillers or just Black thrillers in general are not books that I see talked about a lot. There are a couple authors who pop up every here and again, but it's not something that I see very often. So I was really excited to find a couple books that are kind of within this genre, especially because serial killer thrillers are like my favorite thrillers. I love a crime thriller. I know a lot of people love like domestic thrillers and stuff like that. For me, it's crime thrillers. I love crime thrillers. I am about to go on a walk, which is why my hair is in a ponytail. So I'm going to listen to this while I walk. I should be able to get a decent portion of the way into this one because I walk for probably around an hour. And then tonight I'm doing reading sprints with my Patreon. I don't know if I'm going to read this one because I'm in the middle of an ebook and I have a couple graphic novels and manga that I want to read. But this one is the last one for this reading vlog and I want to finish it off. So I may focus on this one tonight as well to see how far I can actually get into this one. But I'm really, really excited for this one. I think it's going to be a great read. So I'm going to go head off on my walk.
Pretty girl, Abigail, pretty girl, Bacon Bear, pretty girl, curly hair, she wavy, pretty girl, everywhere. I see pretty girl.
I'm at the park. I did around a 3-mile walk. That's what I like to do, is like if I go on a walk, I like to walk around 3 miles. That's like what I try to walk in a day, because a little under 4 miles is around 10,000 steps for me. So I walk like 3,000 miles in a walk. I will definitely probably hit 10,000 steps by the end of the day. So while I was walking, I was listening to The Jigsaw Man, and it does take place in England. So the audiobook is British narrators, which y'all know is not my favorite, especially for thrillers. But I don't think I've ever read a crime thriller that was British. Only domestic thrillers, which is not my favorite. Like, I don't really like British domestic thrillers. It's not as distracting in this book. We are following this DI, Angelica Henley, who just returned from leave because she actually was one of the crucial people who locked up this killer called the Jigsaw Killer. Basically, he is known for dismembering his bodies and leaving some carvings in them as well, which is kind of like his MO. So she ended up getting him locked up, but while she was like trying to arrest him, he like stabbed her, and so she had to go on leave. He is now in prison and everything like that. Honestly, I'm looking at this tree right now and it's stunning. Like, I got so distracted. Let me show y'all. Do y'all see that tree? She's beautiful. So she's back from leave now, and she is heading this investigation where they have found bodies that have been dismembered with carvings that are very, very similar to the MO of the Jigsaw Killer. So she is now trying to investigate what happened to them. She's having to go back and talk to this Jigsaw Killer in prison who claims that he didn't do anything and didn't kill anybody, and is like trying to appeal it potentially and stuff like that. But he is very, very sinister, and seeing her talk to him is very scary and obviously traumatizing for her because he literally stabbed her. And so obviously she's very traumatized by him, so she has to like go and interact and talk to him, try to get information out to see if he let anybody know about this MO of the carvings, because that was not something that was publicized to the media, just the dismemberment. So they're like, how does this person know about the carving part of the MO? And they're trying to figure that out, and obviously trying to figure out who the killer is. And I'm really, really enjoying this one, but I feel like if you do not like crime thrillers, you will not like this one. There's a lot of people who don't like crime thrillers. They like more domestic thrillers, or just like really kind of like plot twisty thrillers, but not really anything following police or detectives or having to do with like actual like killers or anything like that. But I really love that. I know my friend Beth also loves books like that. She's like the only one that I know who really loves crime thrillers like me. I feel like crime thrillers are associated more with like older men and stuff like that, but I love it. I grew up on like crime shows like Criminal Minds, so I feel like if you like Criminal Minds, you may like this one. But I know a lot of people like the show Criminal Minds and then don't like crime thrillers. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe you have to suss out if this is something that you would like, but it truly is like a crime thriller of us following this detective, going through the motions and trying to figure out, okay, we have this evidence, how does it connect? And it's very much like giving Criminal Minds, NCIS, CSI, all of those different shows of them trying to like put the pieces together of the crime and them talking to people and interviewing people to figure out like what is actually happening and who is committing these crimes. I have no idea who it is at all so far. I don't know if they've actually been introduced into the story yet, but I'm really excited to see how this book is going to pan out. I really love that we have a Black woman at the forefront of this story, because many times in these types of stories, when we are following, you know, detectives or police officers, they're white, sometimes they're women, most of the time they're men though, so the fact that we're following a Black woman is really making me happy. I'm sorry this dog is like barking at everybody. I don't know why their owner doesn't just close the car window, because they're literally driving with the car window open and the dog is barking out the car window. Whatever. But I really like that we're following her. She also has some interesting relationships with her husband. He is very like upset that she works very long hours and is very dedicated to her work, and they have a child together, and so he feels like she's not as present. I definitely understand where he's coming from. I saw in some of the reviews people said that he was very whiny and annoying, but I think that is something very real for spouses of people who work specifically like service jobs, because they have very long hours. Like my boyfriend, he works 12-hour shifts, and like a lot of times he has to work over to finish his reports and stuff like that. I'm sure as he works up his ranks, he will have to work even longer hours, and we're gonna have to navigate that. But like even people who have spouses that work in hospitals, either as doctors or nurses, or I'm sure like firefighters or other public servants, have long hours, and their job probably often requires them to work even more than what their job says is going to be like the base level of work. So I feel like that is a very interesting aspect of this book for me, and seeing their relationship. She also has like this trainee that she's training, and seeing their relationship is very interesting because he is very like enthusiastic about being there, and seeing him getting trained is very interesting. This book also is pretty gruesome, like in its descriptions of what's happening. It's not like the most gory graphic book that I've ever read, because I literally have read extreme horror, but it does describe like the bodies and what happened to them, the mutilation, maggots, and all that stuff. So that's not something that you would like. I don't know if you would like this one, but I am really enjoying it so far. I'm really excited to see how this is going to come together. This book is pretty long, but it has short chapters, so it's reading pretty quickly. So I'm definitely excited to continue on with this one. I'm gonna go head back because it's actually getting really cold, and as I said, it's literally popping off because I think there's like a soccer or something happening. So I'm gonna head out of here because the line is long to get out of this park, and I'm like, what is everybody doing here? I ended up finishing the last book for this reading vlog, which is The Jigsaw Man. I'm giving this one 4 stars. It very much is like a classic crime thriller. It felt like I was in a Criminal Minds episode, and it kind of mentions it in the synopsis a little bit, but after my last update, we begin to see the actual Jigsaw Man begin to get involved and take matters into his own hands, because he does not like that somebody's copying him, basically. So he begins to do his own thing, and our main character is kind of like in a cat and mouse game with not only the new killer, but also the original Jigsaw Man, and we kind of see that dynamic. And overall, I think this one was very well constructed. The only thing I will say is it is kind of lengthy. It's almost 500 pages. No, it is over 500 pages, so it's a little bit long. I feel like it started to get a little bit repetitive, and like us finding out something and then her trying to investigate, like obviously that's like the whole book, but I felt like it was a little bit repetitive because it is so long. And then also, I will say this one felt like the second book in a series, if that makes sense. It's the first book, but I wish we had a book before this one that was about our main character when she worked on the original Jigsaw Man case, and when she like got him locked up, because they reference that a lot. Obviously he's a big part of this book, the original Jigsaw Man, but we're following his copycat killer. So I wish we just had a book before this to kind of add a little bit more background. The author does a pretty good job at like supplying background and creating the relationships between the characters, including the main character and the original Jigsaw Man, but I feel like it would have been better just to have that first book and then this be the second book. I think it was pretty well done considering we're following a copycat case, and there is no book before this one. I liked our main character a lot. I thought she was very strong, and her dynamics with her family I thought was really interesting. The husband, I see why people think that he's annoying, but I think that if a lot of people were put in the same position that he was put in, they would react very similarly. So I think it's kind of hard to judge him because he is obviously kind of put between a rock and a hard place, and so is Angelica. I really enjoyed like her trainee and the other people who worked in the police department, and even like her relationship with like this killer and stuff like that. I thought was, and I really enjoyed the end as well. I thought it ended super well, and this is the first book in a series, so I can't wait to continue on. So that wraps up this reading vlog. Here are the 3 books that my boyfriend chose, with The Inmate getting 3.5 stars, Finding Me did not get a rating because it's a memoir, but it would get 5 stars, and then The Jigsaw Man getting 4 stars. So that's pretty good. That means I enjoyed every single one of these books, so he actually did a pretty good job picking these. So thank you to my boyfriend for choosing my books. This was supposed to go up on Valentine's Day, which is not happening. I'm actually editing the video today, and that's because yesterday, which was Valentine's Day, my computer was literally about to implode, and I was trying to get it to work for hours, and then it took like 2 hours to update, but the update fixed the problem. So I'm editing the video today. Hopefully it's gonna go up today, which is the day after Valentine's Day. So happy late Valentine's Day to you. I love you guys. My missing nail sending me, I love you guys, and I hope that you guys had a great Valentine's Day, whether you spent it alone and did like self-care, or if you have a partner or like your galentine friends that you celebrated with. If you made it to the end, leave just a little heart emoji down below, whichever heart you want to leave, and I will see you on the next one. Bye everybody.
I'm writing rhymes in the kitchen, soaking the moments we live in. Yeah, you got the nerve to be on me, taking a life out of you. If you got